my friends, and welcome to another episode of Empyrion Galactic Survival Let's Play, episode number 14 here today. And while I'm in the process of building the parts for my capital vessel, as you can see, I'm stockpiling a whole bunch of stuff so that I'm ready for that episode. Probably episode 15 we'll be doing our capital vessel. But for now, I figured the timing is good that we can do an episode here on farming and growing and all that good stuff. So as you can see, I've started turning my ceiling into plant boxes, or whatever they're called. But basically the idea here is that I'm going to surround the contour of my base with windows, kind of the same theme that I got going here, with some blue trim on the outside and then windows. I'm probably going to use those new windows at the top, and if I like them, I might end up replacing these blinds with windows, the two-way windows. But basically I'm going to replace this whole ceiling here with plant pots or plant boxes and start growing things on the roof. I'm not sure if the plants can actually take advantage of the sun or if you need specifically grow lights to grow things, but we'll find out. We'll do some experimenting and we'll figure that out. As for the lights, the grow lights, I'm pretty sure they can go on the ceiling. So rather than having them on the wall, since this will all be windows here, I might have those on the ceiling pointing down. And another thing what we're going to need to look into is what kind of a radius the light has, how far it reaches. Does it reach 4 blocks? Can it reach, you know, 3 by 3 square of these plant boxes? I'm not sure exactly how that works, but we'll experiment and we'll find out. As for updates, I haven't done a whole lot here to the base. I did start digging out a basement. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do with this part yet, but I decided to start, you know, building up and down instead of expanding outwards. It's just a lot more work to expand the base outwards instead of going up and down. So that's the idea there. Again, still not sure what I'm going to do with that basement, but I'm sure I'll think of something at one point. But for now, the focus is going to be on getting some gardening going and start growing all this stuff that we've been collecting since day one. We have a nice little stockpile, especially of aloe vera, that'll come in real handy when we're making large med kits and stuff like that. We got lots of kava sprout to make us some coffee, and then we've got one of each of these other things here, and actually we got some corn there as well. That's great, so we can start making some deco stuff eventually. But the idea here is that once you grow these things that we only have one of, you grab that material, and with that material you should be able to make more plants. So it's kind of a self-generating system, I guess you could say, where all you need is that one. You see, like, for example, the durian sprouts, all I need is one corn. Oh, wait. What was I just looking at? Sorry, the corn sprout. Yeah, that wouldn't make any sense. All I need here is one corn, one purified water, and one nutrient solution to build the plant, and then that plant in turn can produce corn and make more sprouts. So that's the idea, is you want to keep that going. As long as you have one plant, you should be able to have a self-perpetuating system. So that's the plan here. I'm going to keep making my plant boxes. What are they called? Growing plots. I guess I should use the actual name so you know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to keep making some growing plots. I have a whole lot of room up there to build them. So I'm probably going to need at least another 20 here to fill that up. And once I've made some good headway and maybe put up some windows, I'll come back and I'll let you know how I've been coming along here with my progress. Stay tuned. Alright, and our goals for this episode are going to be, number 1, to set out some space for our garden. Number 2, we're going to put down all of the growing plots. And number 3, we're going to plant seeds and test the sunlight versus the growing lights. Okay, so I did a little bit of research here while my growing plots were being made, and it turns out that sunlight actually will do the trick. So as long as these plots here stay exposed to the sun, we shouldn't need any grow lights. So that may actually change the plans a little bit. I sort of wish I didn't take down my lights. I had some lights here, flares I believe, on each corner to illuminate the top of the base, but regardless, so as long as we keep this exposed to the sun, it should grow, which will be an interesting experiment. But if we do need to close this up or add some grow lights, apparently one grow light will do a 3x3 area. So if we put one, say, right here on the ceiling, it will allow all of this grid here, the 3x3 grid, to grow. So basically, since I have kind of an awkward setup here, it's sort of longer than it is wide, I'd probably set up a light here right above this square, and then probably another one right above here. So I am wasting a little bit of space here with the crossover, but no big deal. And then continue the same pattern all the way down here to the end, and hopefully it finishes off nicely. But yeah, I'm going to keep going here. I've got some more growing plots, and I am going to continue making my rooftop garden. One thing I noticed with these new windows is that they cast a really weird shadow on my stuff. I don't know if this is intended or what. It's probably some sort of a glitch, because yeah, it looks like it's the shaders and the lighting is not working properly. They did a lot of updates recently to the lighting, so I have a feeling that this might be bugged with the new windows. So, but as you can see, there's this weird, like, checkered, pixelated dot matrix type of shadow being cast on all my stuff, which is kind of weird. At first I wasn't sure what was the cause of that, and then I realized it was the window that was doing it. So for some reason the light coming in, or maybe reflecting off the windows, I'm not sure, but it's doing this weird stuff, as you can see here. Okay, so here we are. Here's the finished product. Here is my rooftop garden all set up and ready to go. How many blocks do I have here? I'm curious now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 by 5. 9 by 5. So 45 minus 1, 44 plots. That'll give us plenty of room to grow stuff. Yeah, I'm not going to plant all of my aloe vera because that would probably take up the whole thing. But we'll get a nice variety here going. Definitely a full column of aloe vera for surezies. Okay, whoops, keep falling down this hole. I gotta fix that, or at least add some elevators to it. So yeah, now we can start going ahead and dropping our plants in there. I had a leftover plot here that I'm not gonna need, so let's think about this. So we've got 44 to work with. I want at least 9 aloe vera, and you know what, I'm actually going to double that. So let's do 2 columns of aloe vera. We'll do 1 column of kava, and we'll split up the rest. Looks like I'm going to have a lot more room than I thought here, but I don't want to fill it up with too much of the same thing. I'm going to leave some room for some of these to be planted in the future, so I'm not going to plant all of this stuff, only what I really need for now. Get as much variety going as possible, you know. So let's go ahead and set that up. And my apologies. This freaking hole. Man, I gotta fix that. Okay. I apologize for the lighting in this video. I didn't have the time to wait until it was morning. I know it's only 2 minutes away, but I didn't have the time to wait until the sun came up to make the video, so apologies for the darkness. That's why I've got the flashlight out here. So let's go ahead and start planting some stuff. Okay, so I'm going to try and think of this strategically as I'm planting. But one thing for sure is I want definitely a large amount of aloe vera because it is so useful. So I'm going to plant that like so. And we're going to put this sunlight thing to the test here and see if you really can grow plants in the sun. I've never done it this way. I've always used grow lights. So I'll be real curious to see, because, I mean, realistically the sun should do the trick. I mean, that's a plant's main form of photosynthesis and whatnot, so you'd think it would work. It should. I don't care if these are all facing the wrong or the opposite way. It doesn't really bother me. Okay, so we've got now 2 columns of the aloe vera. We've got almost a full column. I'll have to go get another one here. Almost a full column of the kava to make some coffee. And the rest of this stuff I'm going to put here. And I'm going to actually leave, let's see, how do I want to do this? I'm actually going to leave this last column here empty in case I want to double up on some of these. But eventually the idea here, guys, is that we're going to want to expand our garden. So I'm probably going to have to add a second level to this. Or, you know, start building a garden somewhere else. I don't know. Maybe we'll have another base by then and we can build a second garden on another planet. That's something I've definitely never tried before. So I have a feeling we'll definitely be needing some growing lights for that. So let's start with this here. So what do I got here? I'm not familiar with these by the look of them. So tomato, pumpkin, corn. Let's go tomato here. Pumpkin, corn, and again I'm leaving a space here if I want to double up on these, keep them together. What's this guy here? Perthing? Is that perthing? Can't see it. Perthing sprout will be next. Is that durian sprout? Yep. Durian. And this last one is wheat. Okay. So that's a good start here now. I'm not going to fill it up too much in case I want to expand. But I'm just going to go grab one more coffee, and I think that'll be a really good start for us. The most important part for me is to get those plants that I only have one of to start growing, so I can double up on them and triple up or whatever, however many I want to do. Right now we've only got one of each, so it's important to start multiplying those. Trying to think if there's any here. So we didn't have any of this Ajax plant. We've got that, we've got that, we've got that. I think that's the only one we're missing. Yeah. And that one's pretty easy to find, as I recall. It's on one of those other planets in another system. Very easy to come across though, so I'm not too worried about that one. So I'm going to add my final coffee. I'm going to just call it coffee plant from now on because I'm not sure how to pronounce it. So I'm going to add my last coffee plant here. And that is a really good start. So we're going to see now. I'm just going to let it go. I'm not adding any grow lights. So we're going to see now what happens. Maybe I'll give it a while and I'll just let it sit and go do something else. And we'll come back in a little while and we'll see how our garden is doing. Okay, so it's been a little while here. I'm not seeing any activity. I'll have to review the video just to make sure, but it doesn't look like anything has grown here. So I'm kind of starting to get worried that I'm actually gonna need some grow lights after all, which is too bad because it would have been nice to set this up on the roof like this. Okay, so just to finish up the gardening episode here, I've been at it for a little while now, maybe less than an hour, and I've already stacked up quite a bit. My garden is producing like crazy, and there are some things that I just wanted to share with you before we finish up the episode. Now, one thing I did mention is that the sprouts, basically with one item, let's say a fruit or a vegetable, I don't know, let's say like a pumpkin. If I wanted to make a pumpkin sprout, I could do that simply with a pumpkin, a nutrient solution, and a purified water. I think I mentioned that. Now, what I didn't mention is that the output is actually 2. So keep that in mind. You're actually, for one fruit or vegetable, you're actually going to get 2 sprouts out of it, so you'll be doubling your production every time. The other thing as well that I wasn't clear on, and I've since informed myself, so I can pass along this information here. Notice how I've added now a roof and some growing lights. Now the reason for that is that You can't actually grow things in sunlight if they're in growing plots. So that was the mistake I made. You can actually use these plants, like the sprouts for the kava beans and the aloe vera. They're pretty sure there's some other ones too. You can actually grow them outside and they will grow in the sun, but you have to put them directly in the soil, kind of like these plasma plants here. So you have to plant them directly in the soil, otherwise they won't grow. So that was the problem I was having, is obviously they're not going to grow because they're in growing plots, and to grow something in a growing plot you need growing lights. So that was a problem. That was the mistake I made, so I figured I would pass along that information. But I hope you like my garden here. I've kind of made it its own level, and then I kept building up the base here, going high. It kind of looks like an office building now. I'll show you that at the end here, but I've still got my landing pad or whatever I want to use this for. Maybe I'll just keep building up. We'll build up and make this thing into the Tower of Babel. I don't know. Lots of possibilities anyway. So the garden here is actually producing really well. I'm ending up with a full inventory every, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes. I'm having to come and harvest everything, so it's working extremely well. Happy with that. I added the clear glass windows here, so no more shades, no more of those blinds. But they are, I thought they were transparent from the outside. They are kind of, but they're a little tinted there, as you can see. So that's kind of cool. I like the look of it, but here you can see what I mean, that this place is shaping up to look like an office building almost. So maybe I'll call this Ass Kickers Incorporated. I don't know. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this gardening episode, folks. Very happy that you've joined me so far up to this point, and I hope you'll continue to join me for future episodes. If you like this series and this episode, please give me a like and sub if you like the series and the channel. I would greatly appreciate that. And then of course, if you have any comments, ideas for the series or for the channel, any suggestions at all, I'm always very eager to hear your feedback and how I can improve things for everyone. So let me know that. That would be awesome. And I hope that I'll catch you again on the next episode, for episode number 15, where we're finally going to build our first capital vessel and get it up off the ground. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Catch you next time.